Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Saturday, October 12th, 2024. And starting off with the Yggdrasil deck by Hakur Halderson. Been saying his name wrong for weeks. Most of the time I didn't even say it. Delling, Beauty and Vanity. And considering today's comic, this one makes sense. This one is very appropriate. Today is Tomb Raider number 5. I only have a few of these. And this is Beauty. This is Dan Jurgens writing, Andy Park drawing, Jonathan Spiro is doing the inks, and Jonathan Smith doing the colors. And they did the cover this week. And get right into it. You know, I'm going to stop for a second, but I'm going to talk over why I'm stopped. I've been mentioning recently that this would be a perfect action show. What is a half-hour action show? A cartoon. A cartoon like Tarzan and G.I. Joe. And this would be a perfect cartoon, half-hour action cartoon. And in a cartoon, the talking scenes are just as not just as expensive as the action scenes. Of course not. Obviously not. Here we have a pterodon. Apparently this is not a pterodactyl. This is a pterodon. And this is a total cartoon. And this is why this is such a massive crossover between comics and animation, although animation has gotten strange and so have comics lately. But this is a half an hour, and this guy's name is Chase Carver. I think I was calling him Cody Chase yesterday. That's not his name. His name is Chase Carver. And they jump out of their Jeep as it goes over the cliff, and then for some reason explodes in the sky. But he is hanging on by his fingertips. Or maybe that is the ground. I suppose that's the ground down there. It's hard to tell. The colorist, I'm not gonna knock it. This comic is, this fulfills all my prejudices of what comic books should be, right? A capable girl who's smart. And just action, fun. They wreck their Jeep and get picked up by a helicopter, right? Like, it's James Bond. It's James Bond. No one complains that James Bond isn't enough like real life. Even the assistant girls are semi-attractive. This is everything. Look at this. Look at how good this is. Look at how good this is. Even the scenes where nothing happens are awesome. Here is the meme. Look at this is the meme, right? Right here. Carver is looking at this girl and Lara Croft is looking over his shoulder. It is literally the meme. And this is 2001. I don't think memes were quite as big a thing back then, but there it is. Now this is cool, right? So they find a Triceratops, but it's much newer than it should be. And then they find an entrance into a deeper cavern below the Triceratops, where they go down and we get this picture. Is that on the staples? No, it's one sheet above. This is what they mean when they say I could watch or read a phone book. I could hold this up all day. I'm not even seeing it. You guys are. This is why Michael Turner had such a great career. Aspen and Fathom were both terrible comics, but he drew the hell out of a girl. He did Supergirl for a while, I want to say. So down there they find that man and dinosaurs occupied the same lands at the same time. And this rewrites all of history. Oh wait, is that the beginning of the... Yeah, so... And deeper, deeper, deeper yet they go until this mist fills the room and suddenly it gets cold. And Laura and her assistant, her friend, whose name I don't remember at all, find themselves in Savage Land. Or you could have girls doing their laundry. And then, to top it off, it's not enough that we get... So, in the last few pages... Okay. Let's look at from the double page spread, right? Double page spread comes right after they find the Triceratops. They go down deeper. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to drop it so quick. They go down deeper. 2 more massive Lara Croft shots. So, 6 pages, a double page spread, and Tyrannosaurus Rex as the closing shot. Right, the other one had a conquistador, and the one yesterday, yesterday was the conquistador, wasn't it? What was the one a couple days ago? This is not really anything back here. This is a cool shot. Some papers, not papers, some letters pages. So let's see, yesterday's was the Conquistador, it must have been, right? Darkness. Right there's the Conquistador. And the other one is back in the box. The Norwegian one. I don't remember the end of that at all. So I was thinking about, what am I doing with this channel? In 2017, when I got rid of my comic book collection, and I thought to myself, Zach was already up doing this. Your boy Zach. There was a few people doing this. There's a few more people doing it now. And I was thinking then about, working harder to get into comics, maybe as a colorist or something like that. But still as a writer, I have to write my own stuff. I have to. And right now, the arrangement I've got working right now where I'm coloring the stuff I write for another artist who's drawing it, that seems to be ideal. It's not ideal in that I don't have the time and skills to do all of it myself. I don't have the time and skills to illustrate these novels, which is what would be ideal, like Akira level work. But even if I had an immense budget to do all the drawing and an immense lifetime to do it all myself, Blade of the Immortal's a little bit like that. It's all penciled. It's not colored. It's just penciled and then scanned and the resolution's bumped up, or the contrast is bumped up so that it looks like it's inked, but it's not. It's that's a great series, but he did spend 30 years doing it. And yeah, it got a movie, and it got a couple halfway done cartoons. I think about 2 of them, 2 separate cartoon versions. Whereas Cowboy Bebop was a cartoon from the beginning. G.I. Joe's comic book and a cartoon. He-Man was a toy that became a comic book and then became a cartoon to sell the toy. So, but that's not the point. The point is, you want a character to have legs. I was thinking about this yesterday. What is it when it's called, what's it called where you can just keep doing it over and over and over again? It's called it has legs. And this is a perfect example. Tomb Raider is just Danger Girl without J. Scott Campbell, right? Danger Girl is just James Bond with Laura Croft or Charlie's Angels instead of James Bond. It's Abby Chase instead of James Bond. So, Chase Carver, right? So what do I want? This has legs like that, but these aren't written as pocket adventures. These are written as big epics. So, especially it's just the way these are. These are big epics in and of themselves that I suppose I could maybe crush down to 12 issues. It wouldn't be hard, but I'd be excising a lot. You know what I mean? A 700-page novel's a lot more than 12 comic book issues. I don't know how many issues I could crush it into. It would take some work. It would take some thought. It would take some effort. And as I was listening to it the other day, there's obviously some parts that should be crushed down, but there's some parts that kind of can't be because of the way I wrote them out, or that, obviously they can be. I just don't want to throw the baby, kill your babies is the saying. So, the point of doing this, the point of coming out here and doing this is to learn something from these, but also to see what I can do to improve. Learn something from these and see what I can do to improve mine. And see what crosses over and what doesn't. There's a lot of things about this that are perfect for a cartoon. It lends itself to that nature of entertainment. That nature of unreality where you can end up in the Savage Land. And there's plenty of TV shows that are able to pull that off. It's a massive budget for a TV show to be able to do it. But, look at how this is lit. They've got all the reflectors on, right? Like all the gold reflectors are right in front of the characters. Their faces are always in light, Look at that. So does a character have legs? Does a story have legs? This one does, but can I get it in front of an audience? Can I get it in front of an audience who wants to see more of it? Why am I trying to split the difference between a novel and a comic book? The Dragonlance stuff, R.A. Salvatore Dritz Duerden, is very cartoony comic book. All of that, all of the, the Tolkien stuff. But the question is, aren't I running out of road to come out here and look at other people's work instead of showing off mine? But if I did have, and I do have, this, how many times can I show this off out here every day before that's, the same old? Right? Like, at some point you hit a wall. At some point I hit a wall of what am I going to talk about? Is there any point in talking about the current news? There's not really. I mean, yesterday I said some kind of, it's funny, I was watching someone else. I like to watch this guy from Ireland, Thomas Sheridan. He only posts every couple weeks. And he's got some books. He doesn't really try and sell them. He just comes out and kind of talks about whatever's on his mind. And very much more culture war-ish. And he was talking about how he was talking to someone the other day, and then out of the blue they threw in, but it's the Jews. And it's like I did that yesterday. On yesterday's video of this stuff, of Tomb Raider, my answer for why we haven't had a good comic since 2001 is Jewish cultural influence. That's kind of kind of where I stand. It's also kind of the brand. It's also kind of, there are no bridges without trolls under them. And this channel is about, this is a jester sort of channel, and that means attacking the people who are in charge, and the Catholics aren't in charge anymore. So you have to beat the people up who are on top. You kick the big guy in the shins and help the little guy up. So there's that element of it. When I come out, I don't come out here with an idea of, I want people to go out and start shooting their neighbors. This is not Rwanda. I do not expect white people in European countries to start behaving like Africans, even though they've been importing Africans to our countries. Obviously, we're not going to civilize them. Obviously, the meme that's going around that being rich means having enough money to get away from black people is a thing. Obviously, the Jews are going to get blamed for this. The Jack the Ripper bit. It's funny that they just found out that Jack the Ripper was Jewish, and he wrote on the wall, the Jews are not the ones who'll be blamed for nothing. Sort of like the rabbi putting swastikas on his own synagogue, right? So I wear the shirt and I do the bit, but that's just because it pisses you off. That's just because you're trigger happy. That's just because I can pull your trigger and get you mad. And if this gets you mad, you deserve it. If this was, ancient Rome and you got mad about people saying Alexander was the best, right? Like, it's kind of, no one gets mad about Napoleon anymore. Although I suppose there was a while before World War I where there was some French songs that if you whistled them, you could probably get your ass beat, right? It's probably not a good idea to go around and call people the N-word as a taunt. But if you get in a situation where that can piss somebody off, you better believe I'm going to say it, because if that'll trigger you, then of course that's a weapon to be used. So in terms of that, I decided that I think what I'm going to do is maybe make these a little bit longer and tell a little bit more about what happens in this story. In the very first chapter, the way it's set up now, I have a couple prologues or sort of preambles, and I suppose that's what these little commercials are, is prologues and preambles for these novels. And this first one is about Dr. Fox, who's Ashley's father. He's in the playlist, he's the guy you see holding up the amplifiers. And in the very first two chapters, there's two chapters about him actually. The first one, he's in high school, and one of his friends gets his knee mangled in a hydraulic pool cover. He slips and falls in as the cover is closing, and it messes up his knee. And he has to get surgery, but because he's still young and he's still growing, there's all kinds of problems and complications. And if he gets an augmented or cyber joint, like an augmented cybernetic robotic joint, he'll never be able to participate in sports again, etc., etc. So they're trying to set the knee with pins and clamps so that it will continue to grow, but also not let the leg atrophy, etc., etc. So the accident happens before summer break, and over summer, between freshman year and sophomore year, Dr. Fox, who's not a doctor yet, he's just a high schooler, spends a great amount of his family fortune creating what's called the blue goo. And it's a pluripotent nano stem cell concoction that can heal any injury it comes across. And so he brings it back to school at the beginning of the new year, and they spend a day trying it in the science lab with a bunch of different tools and weapons and stuff. And it heals anything. So the kids are just like wounding themselves and then healing it right up. And that's the first chapter. So that's Legacy of a Mad Scientist. Tomorrow I will tell you guys about the second chapter, which is also a prologue or a preamble. I think one of them's, I know you can have two, and I don't know which is which, but the first one is when he's a kid. The second one is he's a bit older. He doesn't have his wife and kids yet, or maybe he does. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the story. The second one is very much a science fiction horror story, the second chapter. I really wrote each chapter as a standalone story, thinking that it would be someday comics. Parts of it could be comics. Parts of it could be adapted for comics. So that's definitely the idea. Comics are just cartoons that aren't animated yet. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.